everyone, and welcome to a brand new TVG Talk. My name is Paco Treviño, and today I'm joined by Lauro Chapa.
Hey guys.
And today we'll be talking about the day 2 of E3. I'm sorry, ET, no, not ET. E3 2017. What does day 2 encompass? It's the presentations of Ubisoft and Sony. So, why don't we begin chronologically with Ubisoft? Lauro, for starters, any opening thoughts on Ubisoft?
Well, yeah, Ubisoft started with a bang. They presented Miyamoto on stage.
I know, right?
Yeah, that was incredible. With Ubisoft's creator and CEO. That's him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I wasn't sold at all on the rabbits meeting or crossing with Mario. It's just that to me Mario is such a classic series, and pairing it with rabbits, it's almost like pairing, I don't know, Toy Story with the Minions or something like that.
Yeah.
But seeing the actual game and seeing that the rabbit humor is kind of toned down here, I feel that it could be a very good little, simplistic tactical RPG.
Yeah. I still would have preferred if the good rabbits were Rayman and his buddies from Legends, and alongside with Mario they would fight the rabbits. But, it's fine.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I would have much preferred to see a full Rayman universe thing, but I think that Ubisoft kind of considers rabbits and Rayman to be two different things now, because the rabbits are also not present in either Rayman Origins or Rayman Legends, so maybe they now consider them to be different things, sort of like Nintendo does with Mario and Donkey Kong from time to time. They separate them.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they're going for with this. But gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised. I was expecting a terrible thing, like I was expecting to be the worst Mario game in a very long time, but I was actually surprised with, how nice it looks, how funny it was. Peach grabbing a bazooka thing and shooting those rabbits, it was kind of badass in a very classy way.
Yeah.
So it was fun, and I think that's the key aspect here.
Yeah, it seems pretty fun.
But yeah, let's not focus too much on that Nintendo game. We have the next day of E3 to do that. So,
yeah, that's right.
Why don't we go on with perhaps Assassin's Creed Origins, which was the next game that they announced, or should I say showed?
Yeah.
Because, we saw that yesterday. But I gotta say, it was nice seeing more of it, even if it wasn't all that much. It was cool, it seems cool. This might be actually the game to reintroduce me to Assassin's Creed.
Sure, it looks like they finally put time into this. I think they've been working for the past 3 years or so. And yeah, it shows totally in the gameplay and how the game looks.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And, I didn't think about it until now, but the fact that this is an entirely prequel-ish story, or actually an actual prequel,
Yeah.
This makes it a perfect game to jump back into the series, because, people like me that we didn't play Unity and the one that came out for last-gen consoles between 4 and Unity, I didn't play those. So, knowing that this is a prequel, this might make it a very good moment to jump back into the series.
Yeah, and it being a prequel, they could even, restart the history of Assassin's Creed if, they want to go further with what they're creating.
I think that rather than starting it again altogether, I think that what they could do is reintroduce, a new main character for the present, So, you know, basically with a prequel and a new character, you basically have an entirely new series without necessarily dropping what you already had in the previous games, you know, not necessarily a reboot.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, just throwing it out there, I don't know what they're going for.
Yeah.
Nor do I think it's super important. I mean, I always have thought that the past is what matters in Assassin's Creed.
Sure.
Even if that sounds kind of strange, but that's the truth. I mean, no one played it for Desmond. No one played it for the Abstergo employees. You know, everyone played it for the assassins. You know, the title characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in fact, we have seen nothing of the present now, have we?
No, we haven't. I don't know if there's going to be a present, you know?
Yeah, and now that I'm like now that we're talking about it, I'm thinking like maybe there won't be a present part here, which I'm all for because the past is the cool thing.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's Assassin's Creed Origins. I don't know. What did you think about The Crew 2? Did you feel that at all? Like, are you strong about it or something?
It's fine. I think they had good ideas with it because the first game was just in cars, and they now are implementing a variety of different vehicles. You know, planes and water bikes, boats, motorcycles, whatever. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, yeah, that's exactly what this trailer and this announcement was all about. It was expansion of the original game, which I'm all for. I mean, I did play some of the Crew when it was in its free stage. I don't remember if it was the open beta or something like that. I did try it out and it was cool, but other than that, I never went back to it. I mean, it certainly is a cool idea or a cool concept to have this always online game where you can take on heists and stuff like that with friends. It's pretty interesting, pretty cool, and I don't know. Let's see where they take that from then on. Another game that stuck with me from the Ubisoft presentation was the what was it now? Oh, I was gonna talk about a game, but now I forgot.
South Park, maybe?
Yeah, thank you. The South Park games. I mean, honestly, South Park has been a very strong part of Ubisoft's E3 presentations for quite a while now. I think it's been, what, 4 years, 3 years?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and Fractured But Whole seems like a pretty cool game. I mean, I laughed so hard with that trailer.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
It totally feels like you're watching the show.
Yeah, absolutely. From Stick of Truth to now the sequel.
Yeah.
It looks and feels like an episode of South Park.
It kind of feels like it's the right way to go now. The first one was all about like medieval powers and magicians and orcs, and now it's about superheroes, and it looks really fun.
Yeah, actually, I mean, going forward, superheroes did have a strong presence today at E3, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and actually going forward with South Park first, they also announced a mobile game. I don't know, what did you think about that one?
Well, to me it looks pretty complete. I was kind of shocked that they revealed something like that. I was like, is that gonna be a free game? Is that gonna be something paid? Because to me it looked just like the Fractured Butthole or Stick of Truth. I really like that.
Yeah, it has no compromises in terms of presentation. I mean, the HUD definitely looks like a mobile game, but that's what it is. So, yeah, in terms of presentation, it's a fantastic one. I mean, fully voice acted and everything.
And I've never seen like a mobile game like really embrace it being a mobile game. In this trailer, we saw Cartman FaceTiming you in the phone.
Yeah.
Like, it looked really fun.
Yeah, it was really out there, just like South Park.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, really fun. And another thing, I mean, what was the name of the mobile game? It was...
I think it's just called South Park Phone something.
Phone Breaker?
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah, that's a fun name. I mean, even that's kind of like, huh, cool.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, definitely one of the stronger aspects of Ubisoft for the past few years now.
Yeah.
Well, before we jump to Sony, do you have anything else that you want us to talk about in Ubisoft?
Well, I think people were really excited about this game. Beyond Good and Evil 2. People were waiting for this for years, and now it has finally come.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I forgot about that. Mainly, I think because while I was watching the trailer, I mean, we were talking about this. We didn't know it was going to be Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah, that's right.
It felt like something completely different.
Yeah, it felt like something new.
Yeah, it felt like something new. I mean, we were joking about some similarities that it had to Star Wars, like maybe to Coruscant or something like that. But yeah, as it started showing the pig character and the monkey, like yeah, this is totally out there. And they even had the Wilhelm scream in there. So
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's something that I gotta say. Some of the games Ubisoft announced are very cinematic. Like really, really well presented in terms of the CG cutscenes, and that's something that I gotta applaud. Even if I'm not huge on that, because I always prefer gameplay over anything. But you know, it's a merit of theirs.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know. How did you feel about the presentation? Maybe its energy, its pacing. You know, in terms of the actual. Compilation of announcements.
Ubisoft is always really weird. I don't know if it's because they are Europeans. I mean, nothing against Europeans, but they kind of seem like less emotive whenever they're speaking. So it's not a lot of hype, but you know, they just go and show their game and what it is. So I felt a little bit like that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. They are noticeably struggling sometimes to speak in English, but I gotta commend Ubisoft. Other companies go ahead and just bring out their
translator.
Not only the translator, because that's actually a good move, because you're still crediting the developer, but sometimes it's just the president or someone that they hired, which is actually something that has happened in past years with Ubisoft. They bring out someone who is announcing the games that is not related to the company.
Yeah.
And in my personal opinion, she was never really in the key or in the tone that the games were. So seeing the developer go, "Oh, this is my creation and this is what I want to tell you with it." It's cooler, I think, but it's still not a perfect format, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, personally, I feel like this presentation was less flashy than previous years. But to me, that's a good thing, because it gave us more time for video games, which is what we actually come for. We don't come for cringy jokes. We come for the games, believe it or not.
And they back it up with games and content.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if some of that content is definitely not made for me, it's full of content, and I gotta applaud them for that. And another thing, they didn't announce a new Watch Dogs now, did they?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, that's a good thing that they are now letting their games actually be completed before they come out. That's a great thing. I mean, it sounds like I'm being a dick or something like that, but no, I'm being serious. That's a great thing.
No, but it's true. You know, at one point I think we had 2 Assassin's Creed per year.
Yeah, and not counting spin-offs like the side-scroller ones.
That's
not
right.
Not counting those even, so... Yeah, it's a great thing that they are letting them be finished before they release.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's good for Ubisoft. What do you say we go forward with Sony?
Yeah, let's go.
So, Sony... to me personally, it was a roller coaster of emotions. There were some fantastic announcements there. There were some that I wasn't super into, and then there were some that I couldn't help but be like, are we serious? Lauro, what did you think about the presentation overall?
Overall, I think Sony is focusing a lot on story rather than anything else. Like we saw story for God of War. The Detroit Become Human looks full of story. Spider-Man, we saw the Horizon Zero Dawn new DLC, the Uncharted DLC, the Days Gone looks story-driven. So yeah, that was the thing that I got from this presentation.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that until now. That's absolutely right. They are focusing a lot on the story aspect of the games. I mean, even the Marvel vs. Capcom demo is a story demo.
Yeah,
So,
and it's actually having a cinematic scenes in the game.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. They are really focusing on that, and gotta say they did deliver on that. Because now that you're saying that, maybe that was something that I wasn't super strong on, like Days Gone, Horizon Zero Dawn, Marvel vs. Capcom, Uncharted. I felt like they showed a little bit too much of cutscenes, but maybe that was to cater to that audience that loves cutscenes, so I can't blame them too much for that. But yeah, I guess that brings us to our next point, the games themselves. Any standouts from you before we go to VR or to something?
I think to me the one that stood out the most is Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes.
That game is a cult classic that everyone loves and everyone should play. And to see it on high definition 4K, I don't know what it's going to be, but it looks beautiful. To play that game, I think it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It was the hypest announcement tonight for me. It absolutely was. I mean, seeing that game, that to me, I remember very, very well how it looks so polygonal, so I don't want to say like it looks bad, but it looks older. It's true.
Totally.
But it looks fantastic, don't get me wrong, it's super artistic. I love the artistic direction of that game. But seeing that come to life in HD, with current gen hardware, I mean, that was to me fantastic. And seeing the bosses and the characters come like really, I don't know how to express it, but to really fill up the screen, and to see the little particle effects of everything falling from them, the little stones and everything, just amazing. That was easily the best moment or the best announcement that I've seen in E3 so far.
Yeah.
Let's see if Nintendo changes that tomorrow.
I hope they do.
I hope they do, but so far to me that's it. I agree with you. Shadow of the Colossus, a fantastic one to me. And earlier today we were talking about the superheroes, that they were a little bit present here.
Yep.
And we have 2 Marvel games in this Sony conference. We have Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Spider-Man. Why don't we start with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite? What did you think about it from what we saw?
I think what we saw was good, because I really didn't know that it was going to have cinematic cutscenes in the game. I think that's always fun in a fighting game, because some people don't like that fighting games are just like fighting and online and that's it. They want more to it. So I think that's fine. And they even said, there's a demo out today. I tried to download it before we started recording, but it's not quite out yet. But yeah, okay. I mean, and we still don't know the whole cast. That has a lot of people worried. There's no Spider-Man, there's no X-Men yet. So yeah, we shall see what happens with that. But the game is looking good, I think.
Yeah, the game is looking good, and I think that what they want to do is, they want to cater to the fighting game audience that really likes Injustice and really likes Mortal Kombat. That you do have your fighting game and your online and the arcade mode and everything, but you also have a story mode.
Yeah.
So maybe they want to balance that, where they cater to that audience too. Now, I don't know how big of an audience that really has, because I mean, Mortal Kombat 9 left Evo a long time ago, and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was just, last year still there, so I don't know, I feel like maybe this compromise isn't quite what they should be going for, but maybe I'm wrong,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not seeing the complete picture. And you know, you mentioned something about the superheroes that aren't yet announced. Spider-Man, I gotta say, I think it's a safe bet. He will be in the game.
Okay.
I'm not so sure about the X-Men because, you know, the little strange thing that Disney has been doing with the likes of Fantastic Four and X-Men and, you know, the ones that they don't have the rights to or the movie rights to.
Particularly the ones at Fox.
Yeah, that's right. The ones that Fox is handling. I gotta say, if Wolverine isn't in this game, I would feel like the big representative from Marvel is gone because Wolverine has been the face of Marvel in this franchise ever since Street Fighter vs. X-Men. I mean, and if he's not here, I gotta say, I will feel that void, you know, that little thing where he's not there. But, you know, let's hope he is. Let's hope that this is just, you know, the beginning of it.
I feel like he's going to be a DLC character.
Perhaps, yeah, maybe. Maybe with maybe due to his weird licensing or something, you know, they end up doing something like that. Let's see what they end up doing. And well, the other superhero game that they had there was Spider-Man. So far it's just called Spider-Man. And well, what did you think about it?
To me, it looks very cool. I think Spider-Man games, for the most part, are always fun. You know, swinging around New York City, fighting the bad guys and trapping them in your web and things like that. It's always fun to play as Spider-Man. And, you know, as I said before, story is what I think Sony is focusing on right now. And it showed on the game. You know, you were joking that it kind of was like Spider-Man Arkham. And yeah, it kind of looked like similar to that. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. You know, the Arkham games are great. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. You know, at the end of the trailer, we saw Miles Morales. I think, you know, they just called him Miles. So I don't know, is Peter going to die in this game or what's going to happen?
Well, not to complicate, you know, the Marvel multiverse or whatever in this conversation, but currently in the original or official or however you want to call it Marvel universe in the comics, Miles Morales is Spider-Man alongside with Peter Parker. Like there's two Spider-Men. So maybe they will go for something like that. I mean, the Miles that we saw there is definitely Miles Morales. I mean, not to be not to be mean or anything, but he looks like Miles Morales. It's called Miles. It's either Miles Morales or the ultimate troll that Sony did at the end.
Totally.
And something funny that I heard about Miles, you know, is the post-credit scene in the Sony presentation, just like a Marvel movie.
Yeah, that's right.
It's kind of a funny point there, but you know. I mean, Miles was definitely still not Spider-Man for what we saw because he was recording it with his cell phone rather than helping Peter. So, or who we assume is Peter. I don't know if they have confirmed that. I don't remember.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, you know, the Spider-Man Arkham was a joke. I mean, they definitely were going for something like that since the first Amazing Spider-Man game. They have been trying to do something like that. But what I wasn't a fan of is that it felt really staged, like really choreographed. Like, yeah, shoot web here, and there's these quick time events, and there's that. I don't know. I'm not a fan of when games do that, and I hope that it was just because of the story focus of the trailer. I hope that the whole game is not like that.
Yeah.
I mean, some great games have moments like that. It's not a say in whether the game is good or not. But it's just something that I'm throwing out there. I hope it's not just like that all the way through. I gotta say, other than that, I felt like a child, you know, when I first played Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube, when I saw Spider-Man swinging around New York, you know. That's always something that they absolutely nail, you know, whether it's Web of Shadows, whether it's the Amazing Spider-Man games, They always nail that. They always make it feel so cool, so awesome, and this game definitely delivers that. So if all else fails, the game looks great, and you swing through New York, really really cool.
Yeah.
Well, something else that you want to mention about maybe the Spider-Man trailer?
No.
Okay. Well, what do you think about God of War? Gotta say, it's looking more and more like a very peculiar hybrid of genres for the series.
Yeah, it kind of took a turn there. I don't know. It kind of looks interesting, because I think the series was kind of staling a bit, so they want to change it up now, and yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah, I personally feel like other beat 'em ups or hack and slash games do what God of War does already, and perhaps some of them better, depending on your opinion. But I gotta say, this focus that God of War has now, where there's sort of this action RPG feel to it, but still being very action heavy, I gotta say, it seems like it could really balance very well story with gameplay, with action, It could shape up to be perhaps the best God of War game,
Yeah.
I mean, it looks great. It looks like it plays great. So, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely has all the pieces there. And I don't know. The story to me has always been a lot of mumbo jumbo, Greek god of whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that I didn't pay too much attention to, but the narrative was something that really caught my attention. It was very, very cool, very appealing.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump to real brief to the VR section of the presentation, which I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. What did you think about the VR aspect?
Yeah, they showed some weird games for VR. I've never imagined side scroller for VR. That's really strange. That's kind of stretching it.
Yeah, I mean, like, what are you going to do in that game? Like, what's going to be the advantage of VR?
Yeah, what's the point?
I don't know. Some people were talking about the giant that appeared at the end. That maybe that's the character you control. But then why are you seeing him? Instead of seeing, like, I don't know.
Maybe it's a thing like where you play a section, a side scroller, and then you go ahead and have a 3D environment. I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows? I mean, if the game is well structured, the trailer definitely didn't convey that.
Yeah.
What did you think about the game with the little mouse, the moss?
Yeah, moss. It looked. It was that VR or just a regular game?
Oh, yeah, now I'm doubting. I thought it was VR.
Okay.
But yeah, it is VR. I just checked.
Okay.
PlayStation VR Adventure game.
Sure.
That's another game that I'm, like, just why did we get confused?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look at all like VR.
Totally.
Seeing the little character around and like, why is this VR? I'm not sure. I mean, how is it going to play?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. These games don't quite look that much like VR implemented correctly, but maybe they hold a secret to it.
Yeah, maybe they do.
But in the other hand, Skyrim looks great.
Yeah, I gotta say, for all the jokes about Skyrim being in every platform ever imaginable, I gotta say, it looks really, really fitting for VR. I mean, the perspective is right, the gameplay is right. I'm all for it, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the next game. Now, what did you think about the grand entrance of Final Fantasy to VR?
It was kind of weird, right? The fishing game.
Yeah, we were chatting while we were texting each other while we were watching it, and I made a joke about it, like, yeah, you know, Final Fantasy fishing, haha. Like, this is obviously just a little part of the game or something. And then that's all there is to it. And I'm like, oh, now I feel bad for making fun of it. You
Yeah.
know, like,
I kind of still think it's a joke, you know. Square Enix was not even there, and for them just to show that, it was really weird.
yeah, I mean, the grand entrance of Final Fantasy to VR, it's a fishing game. Like, what? I still find that amusing. Like, how did they mess that up? But
Yeah.
whatever. Maybe it's a small mode within the Final Fantasy 15 VR experience. I don't know. But you know, so far, let's consider that a joke until further notice.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, I guess those were the big games for VR.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Those
Yeah.
were it.
Yeah, I mean, something that I was personally really interested and intrigued by was the announcement of Monster Hunter World, which is coming out for the PlayStation 4, and as a side note, it's also coming for PC and, if I'm not mistaken, the Xbox One.
Probably, yeah.
So, I don't know, what did you think about Monster Hunter World?
It was weird, you know. I didn't thought it was a Monster Hunter game until the name came out. It looks pretty different to previous titles. You know, I'm not that much of a fan of the series. I don't know, what did you think about it?
Yeah, you know, I'm a relatively recent Monster Hunter fan.
Okay.
I've been playing them since 3 Ultimate, I should say, for the Wii U. Then I played 4 Ultimate for the 3DS and Generations for the 3DS. So I gotta say, I'm really happy with how this game looks, because it looks like what you hoped the other ones looked like.
Okay.
I gotta say, for as fun as they are on the 3DS, the presentation is a little bit cartoony because they have to make up for the capabilities of the system. So seeing it in, you know, I think it was 4K or something like that, you know, seeing that in really nice current generation graphics was really cool. It's like seeing, I don't know, whenever a franchise you love makes the jump to a new generation, you know.
Yeah.
Something that I gotta correct, some of the websites that have been talking about Monster Hunter World is that they mentioned that it's the first HD Monster Hunter. That's very wrong. With all due respect, we had Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate for the Wii U, and Monster Hunter Double Cross is coming out for the Switch. So those two came out in HD, or well, Switch 1 is coming out still, but we already have HD Monster Hunters, so this is not the first one. I just wanted to point that out because misinformation spreads too quickly. So yeah. And I gotta say, I really like that Monster Hunter World is reintroducing really old monsters. You know,
that's cool.
back when the series was new, they had a lot of dinosaur-ish ones. Like they didn't go all that crazy like they do now. And I saw a lot of that, and I think that really helps, or is really helped by the realistic aesthetic of this game.
Nice.
Maybe the more over-the-top monsters would have looked weird. I don't know, but
Yeah, maybe.
But they really nailed which monsters to pick, at least for the trailer. It looks fantastic. And yeah, I gotta say, that's probably one of the new games that has me the most excited. Because, you know, Shadow of the Colossus is a remaster or a remake. So in terms of new games, Monster Hunter World is one that I'm really looking forward to. I don't know, what did you think about the presentation overall?
The presentation overall was fine. I don't know if you were having connection issues with the presentation.
Oh, right, you did mention something about the audio, right?
Yeah, at the beginning of the audio in Twitch, they didn't have the direct audio from the game, so we were listening to the audio the people from the show were listening to. and until I think the third game it was fixed. So that was weird. And in the presentation, I was having some bit of hiccups in it. I don't know if that was for everyone or just for me.
Yeah, I also had some of that stuttering, and I was watching it from YouTube, so
Okay.
maybe, between Twitch and YouTube, I think that most of the audience had those.
Yeah.
And, I didn't have all that many audio issues, but there was this one person who would touch his microphone and would
Yeah.
talk to really close to it, and that would sometimes not sound right on my TV. I mean, maybe it was my display, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't know, just a little weird note that stuff kind of, usually doesn't happen in these kind of events. But yeah, overall, I gotta say, I really like that it was very content heavy.
Yeah.
Because that's something that we sometimes, with Microsoft, for example, that they were focusing a lot on the new system and the games took a backseat.
Yeah.
I really like when the games are the main course, like the main aspect, because that's what you're really going to spend your time on.
Yeah, and
so
it was
yeah.
not awfully long. It was 1 hour, I think.
Yeah, that's a trend that I'm seeing. This year, the presentations have been small, or short, I should say. And tomorrow will be no different with Nintendo. They already said that it's going to be 25 minutes long.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, let's see how that goes tomorrow. I don't know. Overall, what did you think about this day of E3 compared to the previous 2 days of the presentations?
Well, I still think the best one has been Bethesda, I think. How they presented it more than anything, because each presentation, I think it has had their highlights and good games. So yeah, I think this day was good because we had good games, and I didn't think that the presentations were like too long or anything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow, the last day.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. In terms of presentation, Bethesda is unmatched right now. It was really quick, it was funny, it was, it had a lot of personality, and that's what I hope to see other companies do in future E3s. And, I think that I still think, just like you, also in terms of announcements, to me is Bethesda. But I gotta say, maybe if I was more into the PlayStation games that they announced, I would say Sony. But since it's not the case, to me, it was Bethesda. And even the VR stuff that Bethesda showed, I felt that it was more impressive than what Sony showcased. So yeah, I don't know, any closing thoughts that you have to wrap this up?
Well, no, not really.
Yeah, well, I guess that's all there is for now for us to talk about. Make sure to stick around to the final part of E3, which, well, I guess that we will be focusing on Nintendo because it's all that's left now.
Yeah.
So, well, until then, guys, this has been Paco Treviño from the TVGamers, and today I was joined by Lauro Chapa.
Thanks for listening, guys.
And until next time, bye-bye, guys.